Shalom, Mambo, Habari, greetings, greetings, greetings. Hello, this is Wanda. This is Dice for Connect. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, first of all, to my new subscribers. I want to say hello and welcome in the room. To my faithful subscribers, I want to say welcome back. Yeah, so today I am doing a video. So let me go ahead and get started. Um, Put my bifocals on. So, you guys, I'm gonna have to be looking at my phone because I put some notes in my phone. So yeah, today I decided to do a video that would be very helpful for those sisters who are interested in doing business in Africa. So this is not just for Tanzania; it's for Africa, all across Africa. These are tips that could be helpful for sisters coming from the Western countries where we have more opportunities in terms of like leadership in companies and businesses and all that. But here in Africa, um, first of all, we're going to be foreigners. So yeah, it is expected for you not to expect to find a job. That's the first thing. It's not for you to expect to find a job here, but to create a job. So you're coming, if you decide that you want to repatriate to Africa somewhere, whichever country you decide to go to, your goal should be to create jobs based on the resources, your skills, your experiences. You want to teach or something of that sort, but you want to create jobs, not to come looking for a job. That's the first thing. But the title of this video today is Etiquette for Western Women Wanting to Do Business in Africa. Etiquette for Western women wanting to do business in Africa. So, yeah, there are a few pointers that I would like to give you. Consider the fact that I am a businesswoman here in Tanzania. I created my business back in 21. And yeah, so I want to give you a few pointers. This is not an exhaustive list, you guys, but it's a start. It's a start. And like I said, I have to look at my notes. So yeah, I'm gonna have to hold my phone. So, um, let's see. Best place to hold it. Okay. So, the first thing, let's see. I wrote some things down, and I said that things that would be helpful for our sisters to know and understand if they're interested in doing business in Africa. And like I said, this list is not exhaustive, but it's a start. So, the first thing that you should know if you are interested in doing business in, well, before I get into the list, one thing I thought about this morning is we are actually, I would say, uh, African descendants in the dispersed throughout the four corners, so in different countries. So I'm speaking primarily for African Americans because that's where I'm from, but we are uh, some of the strongest women in the world in that we do a lot of businesses in America. Like we run a lot of companies, we start a lot of businesses. We're at the head of a lot of companies in America. We we make a substantial amount of money as leaders and business women in America. So that's what I mean. We are kind of like trendsetters. We are um, forerunners basically for women all across Africa. So if you look at it like that, we're coming over to Africa doing things that some of the women don't do as much. Not that they don't have, women running businesses in Africa, but you do understand that Africa, all across Africa, is a patriarchal society. And so men usually do everything. But for us, we're in a society in America that is patriarchal, but we're moving up in ranks, holding some of the highest positions that women have ever held in the world. So, I mean, this is for most majority. So I'm not talking about every now and then, like on the continent, you do have some, female presidents, the one of Tanzania, Ethiopia. So you do have some females, but I'm saying as a nation of people, as a group of people, we as African American women, we hold more positions, higher positions in America. We run companies, we create businesses, we do a lot more. So that being said, we are kind of like forerunners in this game, in this thing. So we have to know that, you know, when we come to these countries, sometimes people look at it like, yeah, they do that in America, but they're not going to be able to do that over here. Sometimes people can look at you like that and feel a little, some of the men can feel um, some kind of way about you as an African American coming over to Africa, trying to do business and stuff like that, like you do in America. So you already kind of got that pushback a little bit, especially if you're not married, if you're single and you're doing it by yourself. I'm not saying that you can't do it as a single person because I did it, but and there are plenty of us that are doing it all across Africa, but it's good if you had these tips that I'm about to mention to you, which will help you in that process of coming over to Africa, doing business, working with the locals, mingling and working with government officials and so forth and so on. When you come over to Africa, you can um, mingle and meet and connect with all types of levels of income levels and government officials and just all types of people. So you want to make sure that you keep these certain things in mind that I'm going to mention to you as a African American woman or women of African descent throughout the dispersed outside of Africa and want to come back to Africa, whether it's Jamaica, Canada, uh, Brazil, the islands, and wherever you were dispersed, Black, British, um, and you want to come back to um, Africa and do business. These are some pointers and some tips that will be helpful for you if you know any women that are interested in moving back to Africa. They're single, solo, even if they are married, because some married couples they still have women that are involved in business. So it could be a couple, but even when the couple comes to Africa, the woman still does a lot as well as the husband. So this will also be beneficial for the sisters who are married as well. So the first thing that you need to consider as uh, um, a woman in doing business in any African country is your tone, the tone of your voice, your tone. So it's something that you need to start working on because of the patriarchal society. You know, it's going to be hard for you or difficult for you if you come over here as a businesswoman and you take a certain tone with some of the men. So even though you're the boss and even though you are running the company, you're the CEO, you control operations or whatever, but it's important for you to consider your tone when you're working with local Africans, the tone that you use with anyone for that matter. So right now, before you even come, these are things that you can work on while you're still in America. these these are things that you can be working on to uh, uh, train yourself to consider when you come, because these are things that we don't really think about as we live in America. We don't really think about these type of things, but these are very important. So your tone that you take with your employees or people that you work with or meet or deal with as a businesswoman. So be mindful of your tone. Um, and so I have a little definition. Your tone is the vocal sound with reference to your pitch. So the vocal sound in your voice with reference to pitch. So work on your pitch being not as I would say just work on your tone. Just work on your tone. Just consider your tone, I would say. Consider it. Okay, so the next thing that will be beneficial for you to consider, think about, and work on is your volume, the volume of your voice. So a lot of these first two is the tone and the volume in your voice. This all has to do with, how you say things, how you the tone that you take with people, and the level, the volume level that you use. So coming from the West and from certain states in America, some women talk really loud. So, um, yeah, a lot of country women from down south, sometimes they talk loud, and it's women from the East Coast, they talk loud too. So the tone, the volume of your voice, you need to kind of work on that. So it's like you can say something to someone, and it's not what you say, it's like how you say it. People say, they get upset because someone said something to them, and they're like, well, what they said to you was correct. And absolutely it was correct, but the tone, because sometimes people will say, well, the tone I didn't like the tone that that person took with me. So it's important to work on your tone and the volume, your volume. That's something, the volume is something that I really had to work on, living here in Tanzania, because the temperament of the people is very calm, right? So when we look at temperament, and I think I mentioned this before, you have a scale, right? You have a scale from like 1 to 10. So 10 up here and 1, right? So 10 and then 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? So in terms of tone, um, we from America, we're at 10, right? We're that the highest tone, right? We're the loudest, the most outspoken as women now, not for men, but this is for women. So we're at number 10, right? And this is kind of an idea of the temperament of the people that you deal with on the continent. So if you come back to Africa and you want to do business, if your temperament is up here at number 10, and you want to do business, you want to jump right in and start doing A, B, C, and D, which you should take your time, because no one should come from the West and come to Africa and jump right in, because you have to, get to know the culture and the land, the lay of the land, and how they do business, all that. So, but I'm talking about like temperament wise. Number 10 is US, and probably neck and neck with US is Nigeria. Nigerians and African Americans, or Nigerians and Black Americans, kind of on the same level when it comes to the temperament. They, they're just excitable, and they, you know, 0 to 10, zero to 100, like that, right? If they get angry. So 10, that's U.S. Then you have Nigeria. Then a little bit below you have Ghana, right? So that's the temper. This is the temperament. So I'm at 10. So I'm coming down to 1. So US and Nigeria. Then you have Ghana, a little bit lower. Then you have Kenya. So Kenya, and is I feel like Kenyans are like right under Ghana. So you have US, Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya. And then you have Tanzania. And Tanzania is down here. So 10, Tanzania is probably down to maybe 3, 2 or 3, right there, right? Or could be 1, because their temperament is very calm and quiet. So if you're coming from the US with a temperament that's 10, like where I come from, I'm coming from the US with a temperament that is 10. So my temperament as an African American woman is 10. Yes, I have, different upbringings and, self control in certain areas or whatever. So just because my temperament is up here does not mean that I'm like rowdy and disrespectful. It's just that I talk loud, my volume and my excitability, if that's a word. I don't know if that's a word, but I'm very, I'm full of energy, and I'm very happy and always bubbly like, yeah. So that's very compared to the Tanzania's temperament, that's very high. So when I came to Tanzania and I started observing the culture and the people, that's when I realized that I'm over the top with my temperament and with my personality and with my excitement. So, that being the case, I noticed that personally. No one told me that. I just noticed their temperament. They're very quiet. The women are very quiet. And I'm comparing this this scale of 1 to 10 to the women, not the men. I'm just talking about females. So, the temperament in Tanzania is a very calm. So, you have me. Yeah, I'm like, hey, you know how we do. Hey, girl, da, 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 da. Yeah, all that, and the pitch and the tone. Do you hear that? They don't do that here. They don't do that. So I personally, I had to tone it down. I had to tone it down big time. So it's very difficult when you have never had to do that. So I practiced for a while. Whenever I would go in public, you know, I would just listen, and if you're in a restaurant and you hear people around you, none of the women, you hear none of the women talking. It's like everybody's whispering. Like, they're not really whispering, they're talking, but their volume is not loud. So for me, I had to pay attention and listen to the environment, and I had to make adjustments. And even had a lot of diaspora tell me, when I would meet with them at first, they would say, shh, or they'll do like this. So I started doing that. Like, this means bring it down. So if we're talking and we're laughing, excited, some of us will just go like this. That means you're too loud. Instead of, some people used to say, shh. They used to do me like that at first, and I never got offended because they would do me like that in America. Because I have a loud voice. I would say I have a loud mouth. I talk loud and I sing too. So I have I just have my voice carries. So at first people used to be like, shh, because I used to laugh loud, like laugh loud. And I still do on these videos. If you can hear it, I laugh loud. But now I'm adjusting and I'm learning. Since I've been in Tanzania for 4 years, I'm learning the um, to listen and to check myself when I'm out and about. At home, I can be myself, and just not that I can't be myself in public, but when you're in another country and it's a different culture. So you have, if you want to blend in and be accepted and be respected. I would say that. Not even when I say blend in. Some people don't really like to have they like to feel like that they don't want to change. Like, they don't want to go somewhere and feel like they can't be themselves. But also at the same time, if we're leaving the West and we're leaving the Western lifestyle behind, and we want to come back to live in Africa, and we are okay with learning a new language and learning culture, and just how to do business. These are adjustments that we have to make. So we will eventually have to change something about ourselves. We will have to adjust. That's what you call that adjustment. Just like when we work in the business arena in America, we can not really be ourselves. When we work in different companies in America, we can't be ourselves. We have to adjust to the culture of the business culture or the corporate environment culture. So it's still an adjustment that you have to make in working in corporate America. You have to make changes and adjustments, so you can't be yourself there either. So it's the same thing when you come to Africa. You don't lose who you are. You just figure out how things operate, how people are, and you adjust to that atmosphere. So I was raised that way. I'm a 70s baby. So yeah, I'm a 70s baby. Yeah. And so um when I was being raised, and even in school, I went to um um a high school, and it was called Essex County Vocational in New Jersey, and it was a vocational high school. So they would teach us and prepare us for business. So they would teach us that whatever is going on in the environment that you're in, you adjust. So, for example, if you go to church and everybody's, first of all, if you go to church, I'm gonna talk about church because this is what these are some of the examples. So if you would go to church, you would dress a certain way. You wouldn't dress to go to church like you dress when you're outside playing, jumping rope, or just hanging out with your friends outside. You wouldn't dress the same way that you would dress when you go to church. This is an example of adjusting. So when you go to church, you dress a certain way and then you act a certain way. You don't go to church and start playing around like you're outside. You're paying attention to the message. You have a Bible that you're opening, reading. You're following a program that they have. So this is a type of adjustment. So meaning you're not losing who you are. You're just adjusting to what's going on in that environment. Another example is if you're invited to like a wedding, or if you're invited to a dinner, a special dinner, for work, a corporate, some kind of corporate celebration or dinner, or and some kind of anniversary, or some kind of a special occasion where you have to dress up. Some people say, black tie event, formal event. So these are situations where you have to adjust to that situation. So if it's a black tie event, you're going to dress formal and you're going to act a certain way. You're not going to get into these places and start acting like you would if you were outside hanging out with your friends. So these are the type of ideas of adjusting that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about losing yourself and losing who you are to come to Africa and have to change everything about you. Not That's not what we're saying. We're saying they have a certain culture here. And when you want to be in that culture, you have to adjust to how they do things. So if you want to come to Africa as a businesswoman and you want to do business, you'll have to adjust to the business environment, or you want to live in a specific country. If you're visiting, that's one thing. But if you want to live in Africa, anywhere across the continent, you'll have to adjust in how they do things. So if you come to a modest country like Tanzania, and you are not used to dressing in a modest way, um, then this may not be the country for you. If you don't if you don't want to adjust to being a modest person or living in this modest environment, and you have to dress a certain way, then this country may not be the country for you. So you should find a country that you would feel comfortable in terms of your attire. But anywhere you go, even in the West, we do have to adjust to certain places that we go. If you go to a red carpet, if you go to just special places, special occasions, you have to dress the part. You have to act the part. If you go to an opera or whatever, I'm trying to think of places in the West that you go to where you have to dress the part. You have to act a certain way. You have to dress. It's the same thing when you come over here to Africa. So I'm trying to give you sisters in the West an understanding of how, you have to operate here. You have to adjust in that aspect. Not that you have to lose yourself, because you are going to have a house. You're going to have your own environment that you can come back to, and you can dress the way you want to dress, act the way you want to act. It's in your house. You might buy land, or you might, you know, want to hang out and go out. You dress however you want to dress at that time because you're on your own time in that aspect. But when you want to be immersed into the environment, when you want to do business, especially, you have to adjust just to the culture of the place that you want to do business in. Same way we adjust with business in the West. If I was self-employed in the West, I could dress a certain way and do what I want to do because I'm the owner. I'm self-employed, so I don't have to adjust to anybody's environment. But when you work in corporate America, you do have to adjust. If I worked in corporate America, and in some companies, if I went to work with my hair like this, they'll be telling me, look, your hair is not appropriate for work or something. You know what I mean? So and if I want to keep that job, I have to tame my hair down, or I have to put it down in a bun or braid or whatever. So these are examples of what you have to do also when you want to repatriate or want to do business in Africa, you have to adjust to the environment and the culture, to the culture of the country. So not the environment, but the culture. So that's why these tips are important. Now, I went on this kind of rant about that. Maybe that was important for people to hear. But anyway, let me get back to the list. So we got to the second thing that you need to work on. The first one was your tone. The second one, your volume, which is the loudness of your voice. You want to work on that. Um, the third uh, thing that you should consider working on or adjusting is your mannerisms. Your mannerisms, which can include your gestures, your body language, your eye contact, engaging patterns, hand movements, and fidgeting, posture and personal space and proximity, and finally, touch and physical contact. All these are within the mannerisms. So these things are very important because of the cultural dynamic in certain countries. So when you're speaking and when you're presenting yourself, you may have to tone down how you normally speak. So if you're in Tanzania, they don't really use a lot of expression and hands wailing, and when they're talking they don't do that. So if you're in business and um, you have employees, or you go to the business office, or you are speaking with leaders in some kind of way, you want to keep that in mind as you speak and present yourself and talk to them in more of a, you take your mannerisms in consideration with, your hand movements and your head movements, because I'm good for that. All that, they don't do all that hand movements and some of the eye contacts, because some of the men in Tanzania, I know a lot of the Muslims, when they speak to you, they don't always look you in your eye. I go to a dentist here, and when it's a um, Arabic, Arabic dentists. And I say some of the Muslims, maybe not all the Arabics, but some of the Muslims, they don't always look women in the eye. And I asked why, and they said because they said that it's like disrespectful to like gaze into a woman's eyes or something, which is, yeah, that's correct. But some of them are really devout, so when they talk to you, they don't look you in the eye. So they'll look at you and look down, and they'll be talking to you, but they'll be looking like this, and you're sitting here looking at them in there. Because I've had that happen. I went to this dentist one time, and he was talking to me, and he kept looking. He was just looking down, and I'm like trying to trying to gauge his eyes, and he's just looking down. So, in certain cultures, they do that. So even with us, we have to mind our mannerisms, how we gaze into men's eyes if we're single, even if we're married and we're doing business, they don't always give you that eye contact like that. So we, should take that in mind in certain cultures, that we can speak and we don't always have to gaze into their eyes. We can, especially if they're cutting it off. Like if you're looking at them and they're constantly looking down, just consider that it's a cultural thing a lot of times, that they don't feel like it's respectful to like gaze into a woman's eye. So these are things that we need to take into consideration when we are wanting to do business in these certain specific countries. So your mannerisms. So, tone, volume, and mannerisms. So um, the fourth thing that you should consider when doing business in an African country is your attire. Your attire is very important. Now, these are things that will help you if you are doing business and you're a manager, supervisor, and you have employees, and you have to go buy, supplies and go to these different, stores and, business offices, for different things. You want to be respected. You can't force someone to respect you and you are not being respectable in their culture. So that could be frustrating because you're about the business. You're coming over here and you're like A, B, C, and D. We're trying to get this done. Boom, boom. But your attire is off. Your tone is off. Your volume is off. you're very, yeah, and they won't respond well to you, especially men. They won't respond well to you. It will be like they'll just be looking at you with a blank face, and stuff you saying will go in one ear and out the other, just blank. Like, yeah, you can be like, did you hear what I said? Yeah. So your attire is very important. So I'm going to read this I had wrote. In Africa, if you want to be respected, uh, it's important that you dress modestly. I say cover your body, but dress modestly. Um, Understand that in business, the attire will be a lot different. Yeah. So basically, I'm saying that your attire that you would wear uh, in business will be different from something you would wear if you went like to a party at night or to the beach. These are conversations that a lot of 70s babies like me, parents and aunties and elders would talk to us about our attire. Um, wearing certain things for certain events. Every outfit is not appropriate for every event. And a lot of the younger, I would say maybe under 30, 20s and younger are not being taught this as much as we used to be, because I'm noticing that a lot of the younger people wear certain things for certain occasions, even in America, that I would never do or I was taught not to do. So we probably need to go back to teaching the younger people. If it's these teenagers, and it might be too late, but like the little kids, you start with your children, start teaching them how to dress for certain occasions. So, you know, another example is if for my son, he's 26 now, but when he was growing up, he played basketball. But I would have to tell him to change his clothes whenever we went to other places, because he will always want to dress like he's going to the gym. And we would be going to like church, for example. We would go to church and I'm getting dressed and I'm all dressed. Like I have on a dress. I'm all dressed nice. And I look at him and he got on a jogging suit and stuff like that. A jogging suit. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, a hoodie. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, where you think you going? Church? I said, no, you're not going there. Put some slacks and a shirt on. Like, I had to tell him, you're not going to church dressed like that. I said, stop dressing like you're going to the gym when you're going to church. And even other places, like I had to teach him. We would go to like, birthday celebrations or, weddings or funerals or, different special occasions. And he would try to dress like he's going to the gym everywhere he went, sneakers all the time. I'm like, I bought him some Timbs. I was like, put your Timberland boots on, put your Timbs on. Like, you gotta, like, I had to work on him with that. So I understand how the younger people are. But when you come over here to Africa, it's the same way. You have to dress appropriate and according to what you're doing in that country. Even Africans do that too. They might, if they're cleaning, if they're at their house and they're gardening and all that stuff, they're gonna be maybe just have on some shorts and a tank top or no shirt and they no shoes in there. But when they go to church or if they go to a business, something to do with business, a business office or whatever, they wear slacks and a shirt and shoes. They don't even wear sneakers. They usually wear like dress shoes. Even here, they do that. Like my groundsman, he's constantly working on the grounds. Every time I come here, he don't have no shoes on. He have on cut off shorts and no shirt. But when he go to church, he go to church. When he goes to church, he wears slacks. He wears slacks, a shirt, and shoes. He cleans up. So this is what we have to know when we want to do business here. Our attire is very important. And if you want respect in a patriarchal society, then we have to make some adjustments as women. We just do. We can't compare ourselves with the men. Why we can't be? Yeah, this is not a feminist type of environment. The continent of Africa is not a feminist environment. So it's not, why can men do it and we can't? That's not the way it works here. It's not the way it works because this is not America and this is not Western countries. So you must adjust as a woman if you want to do business and you want to get respect and you want to get things accomplished. You have to adjust to um, the environment and the culture in the patriarchal society. So it's okay to do business. Nobody's saying that you can't come over and do business, but adjust so you can get the respect that you deserve and you can get things accomplished. Because if you don't adjust, then you can hit a brick wall and you won't get anything accomplished. It'll be so hard for you. They will make it so hard for you, and they won't even have to say anything. They could just ignore you. Because I've been in business, I've been ignored. I've had I had two partners and I changed and I got two new partners. But the first two partners at first perfect, but they start ignoring me. Like I'm like, well, can you call me? I want to go here. I want to go here. They'll say okay, and they wouldn't even call me back. They was ignoring me. So a brick wall. And at that point, I didn't get a lot accomplished. I was just kind of sitting and waiting on them to do things for me because I don't speak the language and I'm a woman. And even if I did speak the language, I wouldn't be going to no business office. I would be sending my male partner. So things like that. So attire is very important. That's very important. Okay, so 5, conflict resolution. Conflict resolution, and I wrote down, which is the process of resolving disagreements and finding a solution that is acceptable to all parties. We have to work on our conflict resolution in keeping in mind of the fact that this is a patriarchal society. In our conflict resolution with our employees or with our partners or with a situation in terms of what's going on with the business, with the tax office, or with different entities here on the continent. Conflict resolution. We have to know how to um, resolve disagreements in an amicable way, amicable and respectful way to resolve disagreements, because you're going to have disagreements as a business person. Even men do. Businesswomen, we're going to have disagreements, but the way that you handle them and the way that you deal with this um, issue or disagreement, even with discipline, as an employee, you may have to um, discipline your employees or address them for things that they do or whatever. So you have to make sure that your spirit and tone and mannerisms and conflict resolution, all that stuff kicks in when you're addressing, especially men. Here, it doesn't matter if they're younger than you or older than you, but you're a woman in a patriarchal society. So it's important how you speak to people and how you address them. It just is what it is. Even if they raise their voice at you, even if they talk to you some kind of way, because you might get that happen. As a woman in a patriarchal society, that can happen. You can get talked to some kind of way. But you, as a businesswoman, have to maintain your composure and maintain your femininity. That's very important. Maintain your composure and maintain your femininity, even in conflict resolution, even when you have disagreements. So those things are very important to think about. I'm saying this now because if you're not here, you're coming. These are things you need to write down, deal with it within your spirit, work it within your spirit. If you want to get things accomplished and succeed in Africa in business, these are things that are very important that you need to work on. And if you're over here doing business, you can always incorporate them because I have. I'm not there yet. I'm talking to myself too because I'm working on things as well. And let's see. Number 6 is patience, exercising patience. And we hear that all the time. But exercising patience, and I'm saying that for us sisters because, um, in a patriarchal society, you're going to have to be patient. It's just the bottom line. You're going to have to be patient with expecting things to get done. You're going to have to be patient with um, waiting on people to get back with you. You're going to have to be patient with trying to get people to be on time a lot. Be patient. All you're gonna have to exercise patience with the language barrier, and even not a language barrier, even in Ghana and some other Kenya, some countries where they speak English, you're going to have patience with, because it could be a communication confusion in communication, or a communication issue. They didn't understand what you really meant. So patience, patience is a virtue. I wrote down, especially patients, especially working with continental Africans, they think differently from us, have different ways that they process information. And it is a language barrier. Even if they speak English, they have a mother tongue. And this, it could be a translation situation, an error that they're not really understanding certain words. And sometimes the men may think that they know what, like, also as women, when we communicate, um sometimes in a patriarchal society, this happens, that the men that work for you, or that you're partnering with or working with, may think that they know more than you, um that they know more than you because you're a woman and they're a man. And but and then I said, but nicely and respectfully restate what you want to have done. So they may think they know more than you just because it's ingrained in them. It's a patriarchal society, and women only do certain things, and they're best in certain um, uh, careers, or certain areas. They're best in certain areas, because they're trained that way. So they may think like that when you are asking things to get done. And so you're saying, I need you to do A, B, C, and D. And then they do, and you may even tell them, okay, so do A first, and then B second, and C. So they may start doing it and do B first, C second. They may not do it in that order. And you know even though you said do A, and they said, yeah, no problem, because they're gonna say no problem even when they don't understand. They're gonna say no problem even if they can't do it. They're gonna say no problem. So uh you can't take it as that. That's why you have to watch when they do. When you ask a local to do something for you as a business person, you just have to watch and make sure and see that they're doing it. And once you see that they're doing it, then you can kind of be like, okay, they got it. So patience. It's going to take a lot of patience, a lot of patience. So patience. And then the final tip is, I said, don't assume anything. Not in Africa. Ask for exactly what you want. And that is the final caveat to bring it all together. Don't assume anything. um, in Africa, ask for exactly what you want, because if you're assuming, I assumed that they would do it this way, or I assumed that they understood this, or I assumed that this will be included. Don't assume. Ask everything and watch everything in business. These are things that I have personally had experiences with. And the good thing is I have a lot of patience, and I've worked on myself. I've worked on my volume, my tone. I've always been a really friendly person, but I'm very excitable. I'm very bubbly. So I had to work on bringing that down, toning the bubbliness down, the volume, the tone, and listening more, being more quiet, and what else? Just not assuming anything, and having more patience. Like, all these things I've literally worked on. So that's why I know, and I'm sharing with you these things. You have to remember that this is a patriarchal society, and I keep saying that. And also, an elder person used to say this. I used to hear elder people saying something about, you can win a bee better with honey than vinegar. So if you don't know what that means, it just basically means that you can win someone over by being nice, or you can get someone to do what you need them to do, uh, by being nice versus not being nice. But, like, being nice and kind, they will be more apt to be willing to do what you ask than you're being like uh, demanding and bossy and mean and stuff like that. So you get more on the, you know, being nicer than not. So more on the former versus the latter. So you can win a B with honey instead of vinegar. So that's all across Africa. You can get someone to do almost, as a woman, you can get someone to do almost anything for you if you're kind, if you're nice. Most of the time it works. Even if you have a disagreement, even if you don't agree with stuff, but you'll be willing to just be like, be quiet or just let it go, especially if you feel the stress or the heat in yourself, the anger in yourself because they're not doing what you asked them to do in the way that you asked them to do it. It's best to sometimes, step away, be quiet, and bring yourself back in, take a time out, time out, and then bring yourself back in emotionally because we're very emotional. Bring yourself back in emotionally, and then maybe at a later time when the person is a little bit more receptive, in a better, you know, um, mood, then you come back again. So, but to try to force it, it ain't gonna work. And it's no need for you to be getting your blood pressure up, getting angry and upset and yelling, and yeah, that's not going to work here. It's not. If anything, it's going to take you in the opposite direction that you want to go in as a businesswoman doing business in Africa. So I'm going to go through the points real quick one more time, things that will be helpful for you if you are an African American or an African diaspora female that live in the West and you want to, sister, I ain't gonna say female, African diaspora sister, if you want to come back to Africa and do business and run businesses, companies, even doing land and building projects, all of this can help you in all these endeavors. So, first thing is work on your tone, your volume, mannerisms, attire, conflict resolution. So let me state the number. One, work on your tone. Two, your volume. Three, your mannerisms. Four, your attire. Five, conflict resolution. Six, your patience. And seven, don't assume anything. Don't assume anything. Don't don't think that this is common sense. Not here, because the way that they think is different. What we would say is common sense in the West would not be common sense here all the time. So don't assume that. Just state everything clearly, go over it again, almost like um, you're teaching your teacher and you're teaching students. So you have to be patient with them because they are students learning in your business. So you have to be patient, you have to be kind, you have to be polite. And if you want to get the respect that you deserve, then dress the part. You can still dress cute or whatever that and cover too. So I cover, but I dress kind of fashionable, but I cover. I cover all the body parts. Like, I have this dress on right here, and it's ladylike dress, and it covers everything. But it's cute. It covers everything. So you don't have to dress like what you call it. You don't have to dress. You don't have to dress like what they say, an old lady. You don't have to dress, like that. And even if you cover everything, you can still be classy. You can still be respected and beautiful. You don't have to, excuse me, dress inappropriate, especially for certain occasions. Now, if you're going out to the parties and you going to the beach, you dress, hey, that's that beach, your dress party attire, and your beach, you probably, wearing swimsuits and all that stuff and wraps and all that. That's fine because that's for that environment. And working out, you go into the gym, you wear that workout clothes to the gym. You may not wear the workout clothes to, so out walking around or whatever, I don't know, going to a business situation with your workout clothes on, is what I'm saying. Or you wouldn't go to a business meeting or business um, handle business with a swimsuit on, or with a swimsuit with a wrap on, or with a club partying outfit to handle business, is what I'm saying. So just keep that in mind if you want to get the respect that you deserve. I'm so thankful that you took the time to view my video and to view my channel. Please do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe. Thumbs up. Hit on the notification bell to be notified whenever I do a new video or on a live. I prefer to do videos because on lives, I have something that I want to talk about, and it's hard to get everything out because people are jumping in speaking, and I'm trying to talk to them. So I guess the lives are for if I just want to chat with people, because if I have points to bring out, I get distracted and I forget. So that's why I've been doing videos a lot more than lives. But I'm gonna do a live. I'm gonna go somewhere nice where it's a nice view, like maybe by the ocean somewhere, or and sit down and do like a live. Last time I did a live at the beach, my volume was like crazy. It never did that before. My volume was not good, and I brought those little microphones. I brought the little wireless mics. It's not working. So I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but I think it's supposed to just kick in onto your device. And I charged the two mics and the little thing you plug in your phone, and it's not working. So I'm thinking I have to probably buy another one, but I don't know. But I have a brother here. He said he's gonna look at it for me, so I'm gonna take it to him, and maybe it's not a dud. I am here in Africa, and I may have to buy another one. Maybe it was a dud. It said it was a lot of the stuff come from China, and some of the stuff from China is cheap, and it don't last long. It breaks. Yeah. So I'll get another mic, but I want to do a live at like a really nice place, so you can see the view, like a beach or just place with nice forest. If I had an outside chair, I would sit outside and do it, so you can see my trees out there in the backdrop. I might buy a chair to sit outside so I can do a video outside. So the background can be like nature outside. So I need to get my microphone set up right for that. So, but anyway, thank you for tuning in. This is Diaspora Connect. This is Wanda. Please do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe, share the video with anyone you know that any sisters or anyone you know that's interested in doing business in Africa, buying land, doing land projects or whatever. You're gonna have to know these things. They'll be really beneficial to you, helpful to you. You can start working on them if you're still living in the West, or even if you're here, you can work on it now. It's never too late. I'm still working on it myself. So yeah, but anyway, I'm going to end this. This is a long video, but it was very helpful. I think it's very helpful for those who are sisters who are interested in coming and doing business, understanding the culture, the environment, and what is expected of you, and what you shouldn't do. So anyway, that being said, I'm going to end it. And and also this is a good video also for couples, because even the couples that do business, the women still are involved. So the men, they do some things, and sometimes the women are doing other things. Sometimes the women have to still go buy supplies, handle business with the locals, and talk to different people. So this is a good video for couples as well as single women. So yeah. But anyway, I'm going to end this, and thank you so much for tuning in. I'll do another one soon. So I'm going to say shalom, salama, peace, family, and I'll see you guys in the next live or the next video. Bye.